The Detroit Lions just got a double dose of great news, and I didn't know what in the world to title this video, so I went double dose of great news because we solved a mystery that we hadn't known about with Christian Mahogany, and we got great news from the horse's mouth, right? Like, we got to talk to a player who is a starter for us in Jahmyr Gibbs, and he talked on how healthy he is. So we're going to talk about these two players, what it looks like going forward, and all of that good stuff. But first, let's talk about our starter. So, first I want to ask you the question, how important is Jahmyr Gibbs in order to secure a victory Sunday night against the LA Rams? Because I don't know about you, but the idea of it being a revenge game, it being a double revenge game for Stafford, I have some nerves going into it on a team that just throws the ball all over the field with a young secondary throughout the preseason. Arnold's been hurt, right? And then, you've had times, basically every cornerback's been hurt. So they haven't been on the field at the same time. And I'm a little bit nervous about that. So I think our offense has to be running at full capacity. And it's looking like that's exactly what's going to happen. Jahmyr Gibbs told ESPN he feels about 98 to 100% after tweaking his hamstring during a practice on August 12th. Now, August 12th, by the time we kick off the regular season, will be almost a full month. Not quite, but almost a full month. It'll be a full 4 weeks that he has in recovery. And when he tweaked it, we're like, oh no, it's a hamstring. What is that looking like? How's that going to be? Dan Campbell said we're aiming to bring him back week 1, which was great news. We all got excited about that, but we haven't heard from Gibbs. We haven't gotten an official report. We had heard that last week he was practicing, but we didn't know exactly in what capacity, because when training camp's done, which it was, the curtains get dropped, right? And all of a sudden, I always think about this. I relate this back to Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines in one of his first years there. He talked about we're all getting in the submarine. He was going to be super secretive with everything that was going on, and that's what this 2 weeks before the regular season usually feels like. It feels like a submarine. Like the team is down there and we have no idea what's going on. But luckily for us, the NFL requires some injury reports, and that was coming out today anyway. So Gibbs was able to talk and got ahead of it a day early. He said, I'm good. I'm straight. I just had a little tweak. We were running routes, and I ran a go and reached for the ball and probably overstepped or something. That's how he tweaked the hamstring. It's not something that he's usually done. 98 to 100%. First off, that's a weird thing to say, right? Like, are you 100%? And I get it, right? Like, maybe it's just that mental 2% where it's just like, I know I'm okay. I just have to remind myself that I'm okay. It's always tough coming back from an injury, not knowing what your body's going to do, especially a hamstring, especially like a soft tissue injury, because you're not actually exactly sure what happened in the first place. It just happened, right? Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm hurt. And those are always the really weird ones. So you always wonder when it's going to happen again. Like I strained my calf. I did. I strained my calf last summer, and it took me forever. Now, I'm not rehabbing much. I'm much larger. I'm much older than Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think but it is one of those things. It's hard. It's hard to get yourself back and worry that something else isn't going to get hurt because it's not where you want it to be. Gibbs went on to add, I hope we have a pretty good year. I'm just more confident, know the offense more, so it helps a lot with everything that's involved. In other words, he said he's more confident entering year 2. And I think that's true. You saw how slow they played it with him. And toward the end of the year, you started to see them unleashing what could be Jahmyr Gibbs. But I sit here and I say unleashing. I think he truly has even more in the tank, if I'm being completely honest. Like when I say unleashing going into year 2, I mean like there's going to be more. There's going to be more. There are many routes to add to the route tree, different run concepts. He's proven he could handle everything now, and they were even saying it toward the end of last year. Jahmyr has to prove he can be that guy that we can have out there in any and every situation. And that is when he becomes extremely explosive. I did a video not long ago talking about injury reports. I think it was just 2 days ago, right? Where I talked about how running back is not the position, right? And Jahmyr Gibbs is not the guy that we can easily replace. We just can't. He has a skill set that is very special. So that is something I wanted to talk about. All right, now let's talk about one of the guys that may at some point be blocking for him this year, and we need to get up and ready and running because we all thought he was going to be the future, right, of this team in the interior guard position for next year and moving forward, and it is Christian Mahogany. He had mono. Like, we all talked, and everybody, like, has, like, these secret thoughts, and, you know, the beat reporters are being really weird with it, and they were like, I think I know what it is, but, it's just speculation. And they made it sound like the guy had some weird, like, domestic something. I don't know. Like, it sounded really ominous. But it turns out it's what we all kind of probably went to first. When a guy has an illness that is keeping you out for an extended period of time, most people say mono, all right, until 2020. Now people say COVID too. So that's exactly what it is. All right, Justin Rogers of Detroit Football Network, all right, moved over there, started his own gig, all right, good for him, said talk to Christian Mahogany. It was mono that kept him out for a few weeks. He's feeling good now and focused on strength and cardio on his path back. So I thought it was mono, and then when they were sitting there and they're talking about how, hey, now he's back, but he wasn't around the team, but now he is around the team. It's like, okay, that's a virus, right? He's contracted something. And then, I know it's the kissing disease. I don't think he'd be kissing any of his teammates, all right? Now, that's a joke. That's a joke, all right? But he is sitting there, and all of a sudden he's back, and then it's like, no, we're just trying to get him back into shape. We're trying to get his body right. I mean, it sounds like it hit him hard. Mono can hit people hard. You get tired. You can, have sore joints. And with 50% of the patients, I guess, you can have an enlargement of the spleen. All right? Who knows how bad his mono was? You just don't know. You just don't know, but you have to avoid contact sports. You have to avoid heavy lifting. So it's not like he could keep his body going. All he could do was be up here and be engaged. It's not like, oh, the dude's tired. Oh, that's sad. He's not playing because he's tired. No, it's not that at all. Like, you don't want your spleen to burst, right? And if it's enlarged and then you're putting additional pressure on it by playing the biggest contact sport there is out there, it's good to go. Now, here's the only question I have. Back in August, we put Mahogany. I thought he was going to be designated for the NFI non-football injury list, and he was going to be out for the first 4 weeks on IR. What I'm now hearing is that that is true. And I'll tell you what confused me is when I was looking at our depth chart, he's just listed as out here. ESPN doesn't have the correct, shocker, all right, update on that. But if you look further down in this article, it says he's been on the non-football injury list since the start of camp and is remaining on that into the season. This means he's eligible to play or even practice in the first 4 weeks of the season. Ineligible to play or practice. The earliest he could play is October 13th versus the Cowboys after the bye. All right. Now it goes on to say physically there's a good chance he could play by the Cowboys game, as that will have given him about 6 to 8 weeks of training and conditioning. But since he's a rookie who has missed a significant amount of practice, it's his mental game that might delay his return. Hopefully we can see him take the field on a limited backup role. Let's hope he never has to take the field this year because we have 2 very healthy guards. Like, that would be the main goal. But when you're looking at an offensive guard, no training camp, no preseason, we saw this with other people. It is a very important time in the development. I would expect Christian Mahogany to not be fully ready until next year, if I'm just being completely honest. But if he's already moved up the depth chart by the end of this year, if there's an injury on an interior offensive lineman and Christian Mahogany ends up playing, late in the season over Michael Neese, over Coyote Iwasika, then all of a sudden you have to realize, like, okay, this is the guy for the future. Because if he's already past them after having mono, after missing training camp, after not having any preseason action, he's pretty legit. All right, let's hope he continues to heal up and get well. Thanks for watching. Double dose of great news. Gotta love it heading into week 1.